What's up, guys? It's Cooper Webb, and you're listening to the MotoXpod.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Aaron Plessinger, and you guys are listening to the MotoXpod.
Save me from myself. My arms and legs are bound like an aging corpse from another world. I'll scream the truth 6 feet underground. Feel alive inside yourself. Watch your enemies dispel. If I could find a way to avoid this fate,
It's time for another Vital MX MotoXpod show presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. It's going to be an interesting show. It's literally the last one with Vital MX, so we'll talk about a few of those things. Got plenty to get to tonight. This is episode 362, and our guests tonight are Triumph Racing Factory Team's Jordon Smith and Monster Energy Kawasaki mechanic for Jorge Prado, Derik Dwyer. It's going to be a lot of fun. In studio, as always, ever reliable, Scotty Thompson, working YouTube, chat, and cameras, and I don't know, whatever else you tend to do here.
Just trying not to mess it up. Yep, glad to be here.
And sometimes you succeed at that.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. Also in studio, TJ Smith.
Yeah.
Still no job.
No, I have a job.
Oh, yeah, you're back to working.
I have a job. I won't be here next week, but I don't think we
neither
will.
will we be.
Exactly.
Neither will we. Yeah, so let's start this with just a quick condolences to Aiden Zing and the family. You guys have heard a lot about it. You've seen a lot about it, I'm sure. I had the chance to meet Aiden at the Paula Regional last year with Kiefer, because obviously the Zings are friends with Kiefer. And Aiden was just a very, very nice kid. We did an interview with him actually after Loretta's last year. I think it's episode 323 if you want to go listen to that. But what you've been seeing, what you've been reading or hearing about Aiden is 100% accurate. The kid was special. He was just very, very friendly and well-spoken. A joy to be around. And I didn't get to be around him a lot, but it hurt my heart pretty heavy when I heard the news. I shed some tears, and I didn't even know him that well. But it's just very sad anytime anybody passes away. But a kid passing away is worse, and then a kid that is just, like, again, somebody special like that, it sucks. I feel for the family. I can't imagine what they're going through. I couldn't imagine losing a child. But, man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I just rest in peace, Aiden. I guess we may – go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and maybe too soon to ask this, but like, so you have a kid that grew up and that you raised and all that kind of stuff. If something happened dramatic to him, even like wheelchair stuff or that bad, would you still be in the sport? Like,
I can't. I don't know how to answer that.
You get what I'm saying?
You know, like, you're saying if my son rode and I rode and something happened, would I keep riding?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I could answer that.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
Because part of me goes, yeah, he wouldn't want me to stop, right? And then the other part of me is like, I'd probably hate the sport. So like, I don't know. I just have no way to answer that.
I thought about that. I didn't know Zing at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know the family, so it didn't like have a major mental effect on me. But I did think about it on the way here as I was driving here. And I was like, would I still ride if something happened to one of my kids because of dirt bikes?
Yeah.
Probably. Like, you know what I mean? I was just,
I just think that's the way to look at it is I think the person who passed would want you to not give up something off their behalf, I think. Something that you love doing.
I think that's probably true.
The
but
bigger question would be, would you still find joy and love for the sport if it took something away from you?
Yeah, I think that part would be difficult, but there's just no way for me to comprehend what that would actually feel like, the pain and what that would be like. Just no way to know.
Well, and it also, it doesn't get probably talked about as much, but the kid, because as from what I understand that he was landed on.
I don't know for sure. That's
what I heard was run over.
That's got to be, thoughts and prayers to the kid who has to go through that and live with the fact that, I mean, it's not his fault, but the fact that he has to live with kind of that burden, like, thoughts and condolences out to him
Sure,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a
'cause
bunch of kids run him over.
Yeah, that's tough.
The word I heard was he got ran over a bunch,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know that for sure. So there's
But
just,
then
I don't
it's
know.
so crazy, this sport, and we had talked about it in our group message, where like we see crazy wrecks, and look at how Michael Lessie got run over by the whole pro
Yeah,
pack one
sure.
weekend, and you know what I'm talking about. And
Was
just,
relatively okay.
yeah, exactly. Or guys like that wreck we saw of Deegan, where he was just literally cartwheeling through the air, or what's his name? Like at Supercross, bounced over and like just perfectly landed on top of
Yeah.
the. Why am my brain pull a blank on who I'm talking about?
Which I'm not sure
from
which
Millville.
Oh, Chad.
No,
You said
no.
Millville.
No, their family owns it.
J-Mart?
Yeah,
Oh,
J Mart. A Mart. Whenever
Yes,
A Mart
yeah,
went
okay.
flipping through that rhythm section,
Yes.
and then he just walked away from it.
I thought you were talking this year,
Yeah.
and I was
No, but
okay.
I'm just saying how crazy some of these wrecks
Sure.
are, and then something, a first turn crash.
Yeah, you just never know in any situation in life. You just don't know what's next.
Yeah.
But again, thoughts and prayers for the family and condolences and all. Yeah, it's sad. He was. I keep saying the same word. He was a special kid. He had an impact on me in the very limited time that I spent with him at Loretta's and at the regional, and just it's just completely and utterly sucks. But this is the Yamaha Motor USA opening chat, and Yamaha has a reputation for dominance. It didn't happen overnight. It was built over decades. The YZ story is over 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. Yamaha look, championship-winning bikes, and wow, I just screwed that whole thing up. Yamaha took the I clearly need new glasses.
Clearly
Yamaha took
something.
the championship-winning bikes and made them even better because the best don't rest. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com. And you, too, can go 1-1 in the 250 Pro Nationals or 3-3 in the 450 Pro Nationals.
And you ride a Yamaha and still can't make the read.
Easy. And some good news that we just mentioned, last show on Vital.
Mm-hmm.
No show next week, but the following week we will be back on the MotoXpod YouTube channel.
Yep.
And Yamaha Motor USA is back on board. Made that official to yesterday, actually. Along with X-Brand, FXR, Racetech back on as a presenting sponsor, ETS Racing Fuels, T-Bolt USA, all sticking with us.
Awesome.
And we're working on a couple other things. So
We're working on a logo update.
yeah, if you guys follow or subscribe or whatever it is to our
iTunes.
podcast in Apple Podcast, the old original crappy logo that TJ made in paint
It's so bad.
is
It's so
still
bad.
showing up. We're trying to get it changed. It actually changes next to the actual track, but the homepage logo is this old, it's white with like black and red letters, and this is trash.
I literally threw it together like, hey, let's
Yeah.
make a logo. And it's kind of been like we were talking about it. It's kind of like what our logo, it's like our logo has evolved from that,
Sure.
but it's bad.
Yeah. Well, like
It's
the show,
like the amoeba.
like the show was.
It's the amoeba that climbed out,
Yeah.
out of the sludge.
Well, thankfully, Travis Marks has helped me out today, and we might have it fixed, but we got to wait 24 hours to find out. But anyway, none of that matters. We do need you to go subscribe to the MotoXpod YouTube channel. Search it out. You have to scroll down because a lot of the vital stuff's going to show up, but you're going to get to this blue logo. This is MotoXpod. That's us. Subscribe, follow. We're starting to put some stuff up. I put a couple shorts up. Also, follow the MotoXpod on wherever you listen to your podcast, because after the show, the rest of the shows will be on that feed. What are you trying to get to?
Well, can we make sure we lower the bar for people? We tried to shoot a video this weekend.
Well,
and
nobody
then,
had to know that.
But we watched it, and it was bad because we were just goofing off. And we're going to raise our bar as best we can, so stick with us as we figure all this out.
A lot of stuff coming. Website should be up next week, towards the end of next week, motoxpod.com. Just stick with us, follow us. We're going to need you guys.
Yeah.
And MotoXpod show shirts are coming. Thanks to Neil at screenprintingdone.com. They've been shipped. So we're going to have 50 MotoXpod shirts for you, you listeners. If you guys want to order one, they are going to be for sale. Hit us up at motoxpodshow@gmail.com if you want to get some of the very first ever MotoXpod t-shirts. We did some shirts way back in the day, but It was a long time ago. So these are going to be pretty limited, pretty rare. MotoXpod@gmail.com. Hit us up. We want to give those things to you guys. But yeah, we're gonna make a little bit of money off of them.
We should have put something on there like first edition or I was there from the start kind of thing for people.
Well, way to come through after they were printed, TJ.
Well, you didn't. That's the first I heard about the shirts. So
No, it is not.
Oh no, because he wasn't in studio.
yeah.
I think I did say something in the text, but maybe not. Doesn't matter. We got to get moving.
All right.
Before we get Jordon Smith on here in a little bit, we need to talk about Southwick just a little bit. Watching Southwick, does it feel different than, and we'll say the heyday, the Ricky and James days, or does it feel like it's just a completely different track to you, or is it significant? Is it feel different maybe because the bikes are so much different now? Because it doesn't, when you're watching what we saw this weekend compared to what we saw with like Ricky and James in say 06 or 07, it feels very different to me.
I guess not. For me, no. It's Southwick. It's sandy. It's because it's such a different track. But back then, we had so many different tracks. Like Unadilla was hard pack, like literally dusty. You know what I mean? And tracks would do that. We don't see that anymore. So Southwick stood out because it was so different. I think nowadays all the tracks are so loamy. The only difference is Southwick just gets rollers that other tracks don't get.
So do you, Scotty, think the racing was, I guess to me it was a little, I hate using the word boring. It wasn't as exciting as 06, 07. Maybe that's bikes. Maybe that's riding style.
I think it's just circumstantial to what's going on at the time with the riders and stuff. I think the way the track, for whatever reason, there's been some good racing in Southwick in the last few years, but I think just the way it developed, and when the two fastest guys pull hole shots, all four motos, what are you really going to do?
Yeah.
Southwick as a whole, I get the history and the prestige of it. And it's the one-off, unique kind of sand race. It's never been my favorite to watch. It does get kind of like there's not a lot of jumps. There's not, I don't know. It's different. It's just not as exciting as a race.
Thrilling to you. Okay. All right. Let's shift gears a little bit then. Jet, once again, super dominant. Clearly the class of the field. When discussing Jet's future and what he's going to become in the history books, one, just with a short answer, do you think, percentage-wise, he becomes the greatest racer of all time? Scotty?
Percentage-wise that he becomes
that 100% he's the greatest of all time by the end of his career, 80%, 50%? No description. Just give me it because I got more questions, follow-up. So just...
Oh, well, there's a reason why I'm saying this.
Okay. TJ, just give me an answer.
Percentage or just a yes or no?
A percentage of the chances.
80%.
Okay. Give me a short answer, Scotty.
65, because I think that he's going to get burnout and not stay longer.
Okay. So that leads into what I was about to ask. That's why I didn't want you to say anything, but it's okay. It's okay, Scotty.
Okay.
It's not okay.
Let's say he races 5 more years, right? So 6 years in the 450 class. This is whatever. How many he did? 3, I think 3 before that.
27.
Let's say he races a total of 8 years, whatever. Okay. So 5 more years, 4 more years, whatever. Yeah. 8 total years of his career, but he wins basically every championship in those years. Okay, maybe he wins 6, 7. Well,
yeah. Whatever ones he finishes.
Less championships than Ricky has won or McGrath's won, but he races less time. Like the numbers won't add up is what I'm trying to get to. I'm doing a horrible job.
He'll still be Mount Everest.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like if he wins
Mount Everest.
Oh, Mount Everest.
5 or 6 titles, 5 titles in a row, but he retires earlier.
Is Villapoto the greatest of all time?
Oh.
Because he did that.
Yeah.
Villapoto. And he gets, he's in some people's Mount Rushmore.
How would we...
Mount Rushmore, that's what it was.
But he's not always.
If he goes undefeated the rest of the season and maybe next year close to undefeated and he keeps winning these titles, but he races less years and ends up with less numbers, how do you decide what the greatest is?
Every time I hear another show or anything talk about it, that's always the asterisk behind Poto is that he didn't do it long enough. I think it would go to the same. I know Poto didn't have an undefeated season, but... he was close on sometimes.
Let's say
he won 4 Supercrosses in a row.
Let's go more drastic.
Okay.
Jet decides he races 20. He wins this title. He goes on the 26. He wins Supercross and outdoors.
And then goes road
And then
racing.
he just quits.
Goes
He's
road
done.
racing
So
or whatever.
basically almost won a title. Every title he races, if he wasn't injured.
That's what Poto did.
Okay. So it's just that simple.
I mean,
think-
I'm just going off of
Yeah.
what I've
But
seen in
it's
the
tough, right?
conversations.
So how do you,
yeah.
what defines the greatest of all time?
I would
Is
say
it simply large numbers?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean,
I would say that it would have to be he would have to be above Villo because of the perfect season, and he would have to be on the Mount Rushmore because of his rookie year. He was perfect season.
Okay. MotoXpodshow@gmail.com.
You can
I want feed.
sorry.
Let me get the email out.
Okay.
MotoXpodshow@gmail.com. I want feedback. What has to happen for Jet to surpass Ricky as the GOAT? Right? Ricky raced for 11 years, 7-time motocross champion, 5-time supercross champion, 76 motocross wins, 48 supercross wins.
He won more. Oh, you're just counting the 250 because he never lost an outdoor championship ever.
Yeah, that's premier.
Okay.
But so what does Jet have to do to be considered
Numbers.
the actual greatest of all time?
I think it kind of comes down to a little bit of dominance because Stu doesn't have the championship numbers. He has
Right.
he has the Supercross race wins at 50, but he's in the Mount Rushmore for a lot of people.
Sure.
And he only has a couple titles. I mean, less than Villapoto, less than Dungey, and he's ranked above them because I think of just the fact that he was so dominant. So
I feel like
maybe
when we did
that
our Mount
would
Rushmore, so I didn't put James on there because of that. Like for
Really?
me,
I
it was
would-
McGrath, RC. I think I used RV, and then maybe I even say Eli's getting there. I don't remember
I think
now.
I think for him to surpass Ricky as the GOAT, there has to be the numbers. Like to be on the Mount Rushmore, to be one of the greatest riders of all times, to be up there, he will be there.
Yeah.
To be the greatest of all times, he has to beat Ricky's numbers. Period.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to get everybody else's thoughts on that. MotoXPodshow@gmail.com.
They'll agree with me.
I doubt it. Nobody ever agrees with you. And when I get an email that does agree with you, I delete it.
spam.
Spam folder.
Okay. We're going to jump around a lot this show because I have a bunch of different little things I want to get to before we get Jordan on. I need to text Jordan just a second. But last week, you weren't here, TJ. Did you listen to the show?
Yeah.
You lied. You didn't. I said, going into Southwick, that Marchbanks, Shimoda, Vial all need to get starts. Like they're going to have to get starts if they're going to have anything to do with not a or championship, but it's very, very important for the rest of the season. I don't know. Joe starts were 32-4. Not great. I mean, not in the first one. He crashed in that first turn. Marchbanks starts were 7. This is lap 1. 7th and 11, and then Vial 2-5. So Vial wasn't bad, but not the improvement I wanted. So do any of those guys at this point, like Vial, of those three, Vial looked the best in the sand, but going forward, do you think any of those guys are ever going to step up the rest of the season?
No.
Yes, we will see Marchbanks up and Shimoda at the front battling at some point in time. I'm not talking about winning, but just up front because that's what they are. They had a bad
They're just
weekend.
making things so hard on themselves.
Yep, but I mean,
It doesn't make any sense.
It's crazy how Deegan's had a bad race and he still got second, but none of them have been consistent.
No.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the times the case in this class, right?
Yeah.
There's so much inconsistency. Faulkner, I said, hey, he needs top 15. He finished 16th. Failed. Sorry, Austin. You failed me. There's a couple things I just wanted to bring up from last week. What about Prado? 5-6 for 5th. He even kind of said, hey, basically he told Mathis and it was the sand. It wasn't the bike getting better. But I want to know, do you think the fact that he put in pretty good results, had some good rides, probably would have been better if he hadn't crashed, if that at least mentally he can go next weekend into Redbud or this coming, and even Millville, which is a little bit sandy, and say, okay, I can get up there. Like I can be better than I've been.
At it that way,
huh?
I would think that too, but the way I heard those interviews after the race, I don't think until he wins a race he's going to be satisfied.
But you don't. I guess I'm asking, do you think it gives him any confidence going
I hope
forward?
so.
I
It didn't
mean,
feel like it.
It should, but I don't think it does.
Yeah.
I hope so, because that was my pick for the title. So he's got a lot of work to do to catch
Oh
up.
yeah, I forgot about that. You guys talk a little bit more about probably why I'm texting.
You were talking about like you don't think it will. I don't know how it can't. How can you? I know he's going to go out there and be like, okay, I rode good because of the sand, but he had to figure something out in the bike.
I agree, but it didn't. That's not what it sounded like. I listened to his post race interviews, and it was not how he took it.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with you. That should be the way he looks at it, but I don't think he is.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
Do you think that that type of mentality, basically bad mouthing the manufacturers and the bike, do you think that actually causes other manufacturers in the future to look at him side eye like the?
It's not a good situation, just overall, all around. Like I don't know, and it's been said. This is not me. It's not anything original that I'm saying, but there is a. It's not really like a translation breakdown, but it's just a difference in the words choices. I think.
Yeah.
I think it comes off a little more brash than it's intended, but
that's what a lot of people were saying. Yeah, I mean,
but still, like, yeah, I mean,
he knew what he was saying. I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Opinion.
Just like I mean, all he has to do is just start getting some podiums and some race wins, and we'll shut up.
I think European riders are just more comfortable being blunt is the thing at the end. And I think if other manufacturers heard that, yeah, there might be like a little side eye if he's not getting results. But if he was winning titles, they probably wouldn't give a shit.
But you don't think that type of wording and that type of stuff hurt Ferrandis? Or hurt
Dylan Ferrandis?
Yeah, Dylan Ferrandis, because he was kind of that way, and so was.
I don't think it helps.
Porcel was that way.
Yeah,
I think that hurts their stock in America.
Unless they're winning most of the time, then yeah. If they're winning most of the time, but they're still being like.
But Porcel was winning on 250s, and nobody wanted to really touch him except for Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Cairoli Ducati debut at Redbud. That's going to be pretty exciting.
I know. Do you think that he breaks the top 10?
I wrote down my prediction right here, and I was going to ask you guys yours prediction. I say 11-9 for 11th.
For Cairoli?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the teens.
So you think he beats Mookie and Barsha?
Nope.
And
not really. I mean, that's
who's getting 11-9 right now.
Yeah, they've had some bad day.
I think
he could beat Malcolm. So I'm looking right here. Let's see.
You think he beats Malcolm?
I say he could, but I don't know for sure he will. Malcolm hasn't been fantastic, man.
He'll struggle to make points.
You think? No.
How did he do in the GP?
I didn't watch it. So I wish you.
I know it was okay.
Yeah, I don't remember inside the top 10. I believe.
So,
yeah, but the top 10 there.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's a little different.
So let's see. Cooper Webb was 8th. Malcolm was 10th. So Barsha was 9th. So I think he'll be, like I said, 11-9.
I don't think
just outside there.
I think the reason why I say that, not because of his riding or because of the bike, but it's because of how far out he is from being on the top of his game, and then on top of that, he's going to end up if things go wrong. And I think it's Steve has said this, or other people say if something goes wrong, or maybe it was Jason Thomas, he'll just pull off. It doesn't hurt anything. You know what I'm talking about? If the bike starts making a weird noise or not feeling right, it doesn't hurt him to pull off. And that's too easy for him to go, yeah, I was having fun. I was just out there having fun. And, he could walk away with his head held high or whatever. So, yeah.
So what's your prediction? Actually, let's save that for the picks.
Okay.
We'll do our Cairoli pick. Just don't let me forget that when we get to our FXR picks.
Austin Justice said Lewis Phillips just announced Vial signed factory HRC Honda for MXGP 2026.
He announced that he did sign or that there's rumors.
I don't know.
Let me. Okay. Next question. I'll text Lewis. Chase Sexton's going to be back this weekend, or is expected to be back this weekend. Hasn't had any gate drops. Kind of feel like he needed a break. Not so much. Was hurting anyway.
He was banged up, bro.
Do you think he even really cares about his results the rest of the season?
I think.
First, let's start with that.
I think that he does, and I think that maybe why he was banged up in the break or whatever it is. I don't really want to speculate on any of that, but I think that if he decided to come back, it's because he got himself to the point where he knows that he can give it his 100% effort. I don't think Chase will come out to a race if he doesn't feel like he can do his 100% best.
Okay. I don't
think
think I agree with that.
Really?
I think he just kind of he has to come back, kind of.
I think that it's going to be one of those deals where he's going to wind up battling in the top 5.
Do you? Okay, I kind of agree. At least at Redbud,
but not. I think that he can be up there, and I think he can battle with Jet and Eli and Hunter. It's so weird to throw Hunter in there, but yeah, they're so good. They're on top of their game, and they've been racing. And I think within 2 to 3 rounds, he may even beat Jet.
I think beating Jet is a tall order, but podium in a couple rounds, yes. I think going into Redbud, top 5 is where I would expect.
Yeah, I'm not saying beat Jet for an overall, but for a moto.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's cool he's back. I'm glad to see him back. It's adding some excitement because it's possible. He definitely has the ability.
You think Jet or Eli or Hunter care? Like, do you think they come in going, okay, well, he's back. He's going to be a
Jet, no, Hunter, maybe.
No, I don't think. I think the season. We're too far into the season with 5 rounds now, and that he's not a factor.
Right. But what I mean by that is, do you think they care if he beats him? If he's not a factor,
well, yeah, because that's points being taken away. Sure.
But to them, they're like, hey, I'm so far ahead of him in the championship points. I don't care if he let him go, let him battle, let him do what he's going to do. I'm still going to win, or I'm still going to get second, or whatever.
I think like the second, third, fourth place guys. Yes, it cares because there's. I don't have the points right in front of me. But there's just not enough points in between them where. If you get one guy in there and he takes a point or 2
in between the two,
then it affects them. But like, if he were to go win 1-1, Jet's not sweating that at all,
right,
for the title. But all right, ProX Vital MX Fantasy. Let's do this, then we'll get Jordon Smith on. ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro, Yamaha, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years, from complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets. ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability, and you can find ProX at your local dealer or visit pro-x.com and search for parts for your bike. Still got some ProX chain sprockets on the KTM. Blew a fork seal this weekend, by the way, guys. I didn't tell you that. Got home and there's. Oh, did I? Well, there you go. So you did look at the text.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty,
player.
You said you had a good week in Vital Fantasy. Hit the vitalmix.com, click on the fantasy tab, sign up if you're not already playing. It's a pretty cool game where you get $1 million budget every week. You pick riders at their price point. You get as many riders as you can afford, and then you get their points. It's like your team manager for the weekend. I enjoy it. What did you score this weekend at Southwick?
I got 242 points. Was
cheater.
Okay. If cheating means I did it on my way to work in about 3.5 minutes, then yeah, I cheated.
Definitely.
That goes back to it's luck.
No, I just have a keen eye for it.
Okay.
I pretty much just pick Deegan every week. That's an automatic 50 points. I had Hunter and Eli. And actually, the one that I picked, because I was left with like 30,000 at the end of it, and I picked. I'm on the thing. I gotta go back to my actual team. I'm crashing out on his name right now. Hold on a second.
Good stuff.
Parker Ross.
Yeah, Parker.
I picked Parker Ross. He only cost 30K, and he got like top 10 points. So
yeah, Parker had a good week. I didn't realize he was that low. I would have.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got 34th in the MotoXpod League and 144th.
All right.
In the overall.
Wow.
Well,
yeah,
I was 133rd in the MotoXpod League with 208 points. I had Eli, Hunter Lawrence, Prado, Schock, Vial, Harrop, and Beaumer. Beaumer kind of screwed me. The winner of the MotoXpod League this week was the L Show, 273 points with Jet, Prado, Gio, Kulas, Tondel, Lucurcio, Vial, Harrop, Moseman, Jordon Smith, Joe Shimoda.
I almost picked
Did he
Harrop.
pick every foreigner that we had racing this weekend?
I almost did that too. Just picked all the GP guys.
Yeah, he definitely did.
I had Tomac, Hunter Lawrence, Justin Cooper, Justin Barsha, Hayden Deegan, March Banks, and Parker Ross.
Are we surprised with Eli this weekend?
I was a tad
Sorry,
disappointed.
that's not what they're talking
I know.
about.
It's okay. He's on the list, but we actually have our first guest of the night. So let's
heck
come
yeah.
back to Eli in a minute. But the first guest of the night tonight is brought to you, as always, by Racetech, which is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. They have over 40 years of experience providing factory-level suspension for the everyday rider. They also have been known for building a reliable world-class engine, which requires a combination of state-of-the-art equipment and experienced, knowledgeable technicians. Visit racetech.com. Find your local service center. Lots of information on there. Tonight, Racetech brings us from Triumph Racing factory team, Jordon Smith. What's up, Jordan?
What's up, boys?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Glad to have you on. I was looking, and we haven't had you on since like January. That's way too long, man.
Yeah. I think it was after A1, maybe.
Yeah, I thought we had you on after the win, but it doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. I saw that too from the story. That was the last time I reposted your story.
Yeah. So that's on me, man. But yeah, congratulations. I'm sure we talked about it like at a race or something, but congratulations on that first win at Triumph. And yeah, so that means also we haven't talked to you since the incident at Salt Lake City. So since my guys in here always say I start off negative, take us through that scary crash.
Yeah. Whew, that was definitely a scary one. I mean, from the second I took off, like I saw what was going to happen, like as soon as I took off the jump. And, but there's a lot of times that you're in a race or whatever, something like that happens. And like it looks like you're going to land on them, but the guy underneath kind of like accelerates, or is on the ground quicker and gets out from underneath you or something. And then like he went right. And if he would have like stayed right, he would have probably stayed out of my way, but then he came back left, and I was just like, oh, this is going to really, really hurt. I mean, it's kind of crazy how many things can go through your mind in like that short amount of time of like flying through the air like that, how long it feels. And like, I literally had time, like I literally thought about the crash that Kennard and I forget who crashed with Kennard, but it was like a very similar crash. And I was like literally thinking of that as I was in the air, which is crazy.
Yeah. Scary times. And yeah, really, you obviously didn't race. You didn't race that night, did you? You were done?
I lined up for the heat. I did 2 laps, but I pulled off. It was just too much. It wasn't worth it. So I mean, I was just thankful to be walking away from that one though, honestly. I mean, it could have been so bad for like both of us. And obviously he got more injured than I did in the crash, but I think that we could both count our blessings from that one.
I agree with that. And when you look back on your 2025 Supercross season, 8th overall, but you had a lot of good rides. I think 3 podiums and Triumph's first win. Do you look back on the season as a overall positive? And if so, I'm sure you do to some degree. And what do you take away from it?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it was definitely a positive. I mean, we were to start the season on obviously the bike had a year on it, but a new bike for me, a newer bike in the paddock as well, and really not having a whole lot of data on it, all that stuff, and a lot of question marks with me coming from pretty much the most successful 250 team. Team in general as of the last 10 years, and coming to an unproven bike, unproven team, all that stuff. To start the year like I did was awesome. I felt really good with my riding. I mean, I felt more comfortable, more confident, more fit, everything than I really ever have. I mean, I felt really good over the past couple years. I felt pretty good in 2023, but was having some arm pump issues.
Yeah.
And got that stuff figured out for 24, and felt really good, and just had a couple bad races, and then felt really good coming into this season. I mean, the whole off season and stuff, like I really was just flying at the practice track and felt really comfortable on the bike. And then, you ride these tracks every day and you go to the racetrack, and there's obviously going to be things that you need to kind of, address suspension and stuff wise. And we did a pretty good job of getting that stuff, and the bike got really good really quick. And won at Glendale, and everything was looking good. Was just, I think, 2 points out of the championship lead going into Dallas, and was leading the first moto. And then, with a lap to go, had that big crash there. And that's really kind of it's kind of derailed my season since then. I just really haven't felt the same, and just been still like everything from that crash is pretty much healed up now, but still dealing with a little bit of like back, like hip pain from my crash in Salt Lake and stuff. So I mean, it's just a major bummer for it to end like that, because I felt like we were just getting started, kind of, and I've been so close so many times to like, it just, this went a little differently or that. And to be where I was, I felt like we were only going to get better, and then so the crash at Dallas was a major bummer for sure. But overall, I mean, really happy with how it went. Obviously, I just kind of look at the rest of the races after that as a little bit of a throwaway. I mean, going into Seattle, I was definitely back way sooner than, I probably should have been, and whatever. But like just from a body standpoint, my ribs and stuff were still hurting pretty bad. So was just trying to kind of gut through it. I'm pretty tough most of the time, and maybe sometimes I think I'm tougher than I actually am. So.
Yeah, I think that's all of us. I was thinking about what you just said, like if this one little thing had gone differently and it kind of changed your season. I hate saying it, but it's like the story of your career a little bit. So close, but and it's just the sport, man. It's not like it's necessarily your fault or anything. It's just, this sport is such a razor's edge of just actions. Like the slightest little thing can change the trajectory.
It is. It's crazy. It's, I mean, it's just kind of like that butterfly effect, right? Like with everything. I mean, it's just one thing here. I mean, it just changes your whole career, changes this. And, I mean, I even like look back at, if like, let's say if I would have won the championship in 2017, whenever I almost did on TLD, like, that year, I rode really good. Did I, deserve to win the championship? I don't really know. Probably not. Like, Zach was way better than I was that year. Joey was good, and not that he was way better, but like, I mean, I wasn't really ready for that spot yet, right? Like it was my third year, but like I really hadn't done that much in my first 2 years on Geico. Like I was not in any sort of like battles to win races. I had gotten one podium, and to kind of like get thrust into like that championship kind of, battle. And then, but I just look back on it, like if I would have won that championship, like what would the rest of my career look like? Like, I don't even know if I would still be like, if I got the injuries that I got, like in the 250 class, like there's no way that I would have spent those 3 years of riding how I was in the 450 class and would have still had a ride, So, I just look at it as like, maybe that was like a blessing at that point that I am still able to race pro, that maybe I wouldn't have had a ride if I did win that championship, because I would have had to move up 450, all that stuff. And like, obviously I've been in the 250 class for a while, but it's kind of, I've said it a few times, it's kind of like two different careers, from 2015 to 2019, and then basically from 2022 to current time, it's been like two different careers for me.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your honesty, TJ.
Yeah, you were talking about earlier about going to Triumph and it being like a new team. They have obviously proven with you and other riders that they can produce a bike that can get you to the front of the class and battling and all that kind of for wins and whatnot. When you were signing that, though, how was that? Was there like a lot of like hesitation, tentative? Did you almost not take the deal? Where were you on that?
Yeah. So I was kind of, I still had an offer from Star to race 250, and I was kind of in the middle of like, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I felt like, that maybe my best shot at winning a championship for this year at the time, I felt like maybe it was staying with Star, I didn't really know for sure if it was going to be a better, or if maybe a little bit of a change of kind of leadership and scenery would maybe help me out a little bit. And so I felt like going to Triumph gave me a better future outlook. I just didn't feel like at Star, I just, with some of the talks and stuff, like I had just gotten the feeling and that like I wasn't necessarily a plan for the future of them, like on the 450 side or anything like that. So I just felt like coming to Triumph for me, like I felt like I believed in myself enough and in my riding and my work ethic and everything that like I felt like, you know, with also the crew of people around Triumph, I know a lot, or I had known a lot of the guys before I signed and stuff, had worked with some of them on other teams before and stuff. And I just knew that it was a great group of guys that really knew what they were doing. So I wasn't really too stressed on like, would I be able to get the bike good enough? Would I be able to, you know, ride good enough to get the results? Like I felt like all those pieces, like I felt like I could just move over and kind of pick up where I left off in Supercross with Star. And so it worked out like that and it was good. But yeah, it was definitely a really hard decision because it's like, you know, you have some people that, you know, if you talk to them about it and they're like, why would you leave Star if you had the option to stay, you know, but whenever you're in that situation, it's just a little bit different. And I mean, I've had a lot of tough decisions, I feel like throughout my career to, you know, change team or stay with the team. And I think sometimes I've made the right decision. Sometimes I made the wrong decision. And but at the end of the day, it's just part of it. And you just got to make the decision that you feel is best for you and your future and all that stuff and go with it and trust in it.
And you get to hang out with Jalik. So, I mean,
yeah. How could I not love that?
Jalik, yeah. Jalik is definitely one of my favorite characters in the pits. I love Jalik. Jordan, so let's shift to outdoors. We just finished round 5 at Southwick. When I look at your results and I look at your lap positions, starts aren't the best, but you're staying pretty consistent. Like you're not really moving up any significantly. You're not losing a lot of spots significantly, but you're being pretty consistent. First of all, were there lingering effects when at Fox and through the season, like you kind of said there were, from the crash at Salt Lake City? And second, are you somewhat content with your results so far this first year outdoors on the Triumph?
So yeah, there were some effects. I didn't ride. I only rode about 20 minutes, I would say, in between Salt Lake and Fox. And the week before Salt Lake, we had decided just to ride Supercross to try to. I felt like Denver was kind of a step in the right direction for me on Supercross, and I really wanted to try to go out and win or podium Salt Lake at the East-West Shootout. So we decided to just ride Supercross then. And I really, even though like, you know, there really wasn't, you know, a whole lot for me to gain from, you know, like it's like, yeah, you should look forward to just go ahead and get training on outdoors. But I had rode a little bit of outdoors. I felt pretty comfortable with my bike and my fitness is good and stuff. So we just decided to do that. So I really didn't get much prep time at all on outdoors. Really looking back on it, I had probably, including whenever I first got on the bike, I rode outdoors for a few days before I got onto Supercross. So including those few days, I probably had less than 15 days on a Triumph on outdoors, and maybe even less than 10. So, so I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to race or not at Fox. I got the hematoma in my back drained on Thursday I think it was Thursday before I flew out on Thursday. And so going into it, didn't really, you know what to expect. I felt really good at Paula, actually. I didn't really get the greatest results, but I felt pretty good. I felt like my riding was good. My fitness was good. And then I felt good at Hangtown. And then once we got to the kind of softer tracks, I've just been struggling a little bit, just with my riding, maybe a little bit of bike setup, but I mean, I feel pretty good on the bike. It's just like, I'm just, like you said, you've looked at my results and where I'm at. Like, yeah, I haven't been getting great starts. I kind of go from like, let's say 25th or something on the start or 20th, and I'll move up to, 15th and then kind of stay there, maybe get a couple more, or I'll start 15th and maybe move up to like 10th or, whatever. I've had a couple motos where I moved up this weekend. I moved up a couple spots in Hangtown, but I've just been struggling a little bit with speed in outdoors. So like I feel like I'm a decent speed, like I'm like right, but I'm like the same speed as most people are in like 7th to 15th, you know, like 7th to 14th. Like I don't have enough speed to go from 15th to 7th, you know, like I can maybe get a couple spots, you know, or some guys make mistakes, but I've just been struggling with speed a little bit. And that's pretty much, I mean, my fitness is really good and stuff. I feel good on the bike, but I just need like another second a lap, you know, it's like not a whole lot, but it's just a little bit. And I've just really been struggling with that. So, I mean, really, I'm not very content with my outdoor results so far. I definitely want more. I mean, I definitely expect to at least be in the top 10 in all the motos, and you know, with a good start, I expect to be able to battle in the top 5 and you know, maybe even for like a podium. So I mean, that's where I expect to be. We're working hard. The team's working hard, trying to, you know, get everything dialed in and stuff. And but really, it's just like myself and just trying to find some speed. So
Jordon Smith tonight brought to you by Racetech, racetech.com. Find your local service center, get your suspension serviced, revalved, meet your local techs. They're probably at the track with you, racetech.com.
Jordan, do you find it tougher in the outdoors to kind of gain that competitive edge against the competition, since outdoors is kind of something that the younger guys have all grown up doing? It seems like in Supercross, the fact that you have a little more experience kind of gives you a little more of a competitive edge. Is that something also, like going off of what you just said, is that another thing that you kind of feel is a factor?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that in Supercross, it's like not very many guys kind of like have all of it kind of put together. You know, there's like normally only like 3 or 4 guys in the 250 class that kind of have everything together, where like everything, I mean, like they can hit the whoops good, like any night, any given night, whether they're skimmers, jumpers, whatever, starts, and they're not scared to hit big rhythms, even whenever the track gets gnarly. Right. Yeah. So, I feel like in Supercross, that's been like one thing that had kind of kept me so consistent in Supercross, as far as just kind of being like on the podium most nights, is just, I can get through the whoops pretty much any night, that no matter how gnarly they are to skim. And I usually get pretty good starts, and I'm never scared to hit a rhythm in Supercross for the most part. So, I mean, it's definitely, I definitely have a little bit of an edge over some of those guys that, you know, may be really good starters, but, you know, aren't that good in the whoops, or won't hit the big rhythms. Or another one is also getting tired. You know, obviously the races are shorter, but the heart rate is so much higher. To hold that intensity through a whole main event is tough.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we get older, that gets even tougher, Jordan. I want to ask you about the team. You know, it's a relatively new team, year 2, and testing, right? There's still a lot of development to be done on Triumph. Was the gap outdoors from the testing, once you got on the outdoor bike, was it bigger? I guess, was it more difficult to adjust the bike to what you needed outdoors than it was for Supercross? Was it a little closer, or maybe the same?
I would say yes. It's been a little bit tougher to get it set up for outdoors. For me, I am someone that, and this is kind of what we've been talking about a little bit over the last couple weeks, like me and the team, is like, first off, I went quite a few years where I didn't race outdoors. I didn't race outdoors from 2019 until 2023.
Right. Yeah.
So it was like 4 years that I took off from racing outdoors. And a lot of the time I was hurt during the whole outdoor season, and I didn't really even ride outdoors, you know, like to train or anything. I almost all was on Supercross. And for me, like, I have always been one as an amateur. Like, I always was like really far back on the bike. Like, I never had enough weight on the front. Well, riding so much Supercross, you have to learn to get the weight on the front of the bike, or else you just can't turn it. Right. So I have gotten those riding habits, and it's really tough for me to kind of get the weight shifted back now. Like, I'm so used to being over the front, and you see the guys that are, especially in the 250 class, that are winning and stuff. I mean, they're hanging off the back of the bike all the time, you know? So, it's been a little bit of a riding style change, been trying to get further back on the bike and stuff. And then also trying to get the bike to kind of handle, like, because it's great on Supercross or on like a more harder packed outdoor track if you have that weight on the front of the bike. But whenever you get into these like deeper, sandier, or like I mean, you guys know how much they water the outdoor tracks. They're almost muddy all day long sometimes, you know. It's insane to me how it's muddy at 4:00 in the afternoon, and there's been dirt bikes riding on them all day, and a lot of times they don't even water the sections after practice. So it's just it's just crazy how wet it is, and you just have to be on the back of the bike. So I mean, that's something that I've realized myself as well, and like we're still working on the bike, trying to get it set up more for me for how I ride it. But at the same time, I'm like, guys, like, it's not only the bike. Like, I just want you to make that clear. Like, I need to change stuff as well. Like, I need to take this upon myself to, to figure it out, because it can be so frustrating at times. Like, I'm someone, like, I work hard, and whenever I can't get something, it frustrates me so bad, makes me so mad. I'm so competitive. And it's been a long summer so far, for sure. But I mean, it's even last year, like, it was, last year was a little bit different, just because, like, I almost had to beg Bobby to let me ride outdoors. So like I had like no expectations that I would come back and get like an 8th place. And he's like, man, that was a great ride, son. And I'm like, Bobby, I got 8th. Like, it was okay, but it wasn't that good. Yeah. And he's like, that was great. And I was like, all right, thanks, Bobby. But I expect more out of myself. So it's frustrating.
Let me ask you this. With the development of the bike, it's the factory team for Triumph Racing factory team. But factory team can mean different levels of factory. If you guys are at the test track and you're like, hey, we want to try this, we want to build this engine mount or this spacer or whatever, is that difficult here in the U.S., or can you guys got a machine shop and just go do what you need? Do you got to get permission? Like, is the process of developing difficult or easy?
No, it's not. It's not crazy difficult. The only thing I would say that's difficult is, if you're on a bike, like, I mean, let's just say whenever I was on Yamaha, like, that bike stayed the same from, I don't know exactly the years, but I'm going to guess like something like 2016 to 2023 or something like that. It was the same. So like, they had so many parts that they had tried, so like they had everything already ready, where like we can pretty much make anything that we want to try at our shop, but it still takes a little bit of time to get it done, or like even, just getting, but yeah, we do have a full machine shop they can pretty much make anything that we need to there at the shop. So it's nice. It's pretty sweet. Yep.
Okay. Few more for you.
Yeah, we have one of our guys from the YouTube chat, Austin Justice, asked, Jordan, we know you have your history with Deegs, but you were a star for 2 years and you saw everything. So in your opinion, what makes the guy so good?
I don't really know. If I knew, trust me, I'd be trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's good. I mean, he's just, I think he sees the track differently than a lot of us do. The same thing as Jet, I think that, you see, you'll watch 39 other guys hit one line and they're doing something different, a lot of times. So I think that, he's like, his line selection in outdoors is incredible. He's young. He's not scared. He's, he's got that, he'll send it. And I mean, they don't leave any stone unturned whenever it comes to bike setup or train, whenever it comes to technique or this or that. Like if there's something that he's struggling with, they'll go figure it out. I mean, even last year, obviously it's all like talking about him being bad in the sand or whatever, and they went and rented out Southwick 2 weeks before Southwick to go and ride there. Like they just don't leave any stone unturned whenever it comes to that stuff. So he's good for sure.
So you talk about him and Jet and other riders throughout time who've been able to have that reputation of seeing the track different and whatnot. Is that something that somebody at your level could practice, could learn? Could you go free ride and play? Is there something you could do or a rider could do to learn that technique?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I'm sure maybe that there's something that the hardest thing to me, or in my opinion, is just like trying to replicate an outdoor track, you know, is nearly impossible, or if not impossible, you know, like you just can't replicate the lines and the bumps and everything like that at a practice track. You just can't do it. Doesn't matter how deep you rip it. You just can't do it because you just don't have that many guys, and you can't get that much water in it day in, day out. So I think that's one of the hardest things as far as like trying to learn that stuff goes. And then I don't know, just like, you know, I feel like whenever I'm watching, especially Jet, like I watch videos of him going through sections that I'm also racing and riding on. And it just looks like it just comes at him at like a completely different speed, you know, like he's seeing bumps and jumping off of bumps that like are coming at me so fast, you know, like I feel like I'm going, and I think a lot of the places, like if you like actually looked at it, we are probably going faster than those guys in a lot of areas, you know, but we're just like slamming through these bumps, and then we don't get the momentum around the turn because we're still braking or, you know, whatever. So trust me, I've been trying to figure it out. I've been trying to learn it, but it's not working.
I really do think, and I don't know if this is the right term, but some of it's physiological. I don't know if that's the right term, where a guy like James Stewart, like Jordan said, processes things like if they're going the exact same speed, he's seen it so much. It seems so much slower to him in his eyes. It's getting to his brain faster. Or like a Jordan. There was times when Jordan would say, like, the hoop looks so big. Yeah. Like he just couldn't miss. It's just something with that process. All right, Jordan, here's the big one. There's rumors. I don't know if you'll answer or give us anything, but that you're going to be on a 450 next year. I know there were some talks. Maybe Malcolm will be going there, different discussions, but it sounds like you're the 450 guy next year. Can you comment on that in any way at all?
So we are working on it.
Okay.
It's not done yet, but I think that I will be on a 450 at some point next year. So I'm not sure if it'll be Supercross or outdoors yet, but at some point next year, I'll definitely be on a 450. So
all right, now that 450 field at the top end is, you know, it's good. Jordan, those guys are pretty damn good.
Don't scare him.
Like, I guess I don't know how to ask this exactly. Like, do you think it's a good idea to move up? You just talked a little while ago, like back in the TLD days, if you'd moved up, maybe your career would have been shortened. Do you have that concern that, like, oh shit, maybe is this the right move?
Not really. I mean, I feel like I'm at the point in my career, like where, I mean, the one of the big reasons, like I said earlier, of why I came to Triumph is I felt like I had a better future here as far as going 450 and that kind of stuff. And I think that, you know, I think that sometimes in Supercross, like some of the mistakes that I've made over the last 2 years, let's say, are not because I'm on a 250, but I'm having to ride the 250 so hard in Supercross to match the speed of some of the other guys that are out there. Like even, you know, I weigh quite a bit more than not everyone, but a lot, especially in Supercross. Like a lot of those guys are pretty small, you know, like Hayden's quite a bit smaller, Cole way smaller than me racing this year, you know? And then, so I think that I'm excited to get onto a, 450 where it's plenty of power for me. I can, you know, not have to worry about weight too much. Like I really try to, I mean, I'm about as light as I can be without starting to really lose a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And I don't really try to build any muscle throughout the off season and stuff. Like we do our workouts, but, I don't try to build muscle or put on weight with muscle just because I do try to stay as light as I can. So, I think that obviously, you know, there's a lot of good guys in the 450 class. I mean, it's like every guy in it has won a 250 championship or 450 or both. You know, it's gnarly. Everyone's so fast, and there's a lot of really good guys. But I've rode the 450 some. Raced it back in I think it was in 2017. I raced it in Monster Cup and did really good even back then. I think I got 5th overall, and there was a lot of good guys, beat a couple good guys. So, you know, I think that the 450 will suit my style a little bit more, and just like how I'm a little bit bigger, so hopefully won't have to ride it quite as hard like in Supercross mainly.
Yeah.
So even like this year in the crash in Dallas, like in those whoops, like I was wide open in those whoops, like whenever it stepped out, where like on a 450, you don't have to be wide open in a set of whoops, like you can back off of it a little bit and have a little bit more play there. So I don't know. I think that I'm excited to get to a 450. I think that I'm excited just to see where I stack up. I mean, you see some guys, I mean, just look at someone like Chase, like I think he never won a 250 outdoor race on a 250. I don't think, maybe only a few podiums. Like, I don't think he really, and then he's now an outdoor 450 champion,
Right.
like that 450 really suited Chase. And like, I really feel like we, even in the 250 class, like us at the top, are like really riding good, especially like in Supercross, like look at how good RJ's like, I mean, and he got a bone taken out of his wrist like a week before the freaking race. But he's riding really good. Like he's just slotting right in there, and I think he's only going to keep getting better. And I think that, it's kind of the same thing as, where once I do get to move up the 450 Supercross, like I think that I'll just be able to slot right in there and be battling. So that's the goal at least, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I want to see you be successful on it. I think it's exciting. We got two more non-moto questions, and we're gonna let you go.
Mine was just a follow up of that. Like, why was it big news that Jordan's going to 450s? I thought the plan all along was for him to eventually be on the Triumph 450.
Eventually, but not necessarily next year. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily next year. That's the news that. We wanted the scoop.
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
Okay, so I was looking through your Instagram, and I was, a lot of photos with your wife, Katie, and your daughter, and I've had a chance to, see them many times at races, and I started thinking about all the wives at the races.
Of course.
Well, no, here, what if they did?
He definitely DM'd your old lady. I'm just letting you know.
Gosh, dang it.
But no, nicely. He's real nice, and
Yeah,
but
that's how he gets it.
Anyway, I was like, what if they did a powder puff race on like 110s?
Oh God.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Would she rip?
She would try for sure. She's never really rode. Like I think that whenever she was like really young, maybe she rode a little bit or like rode some 4-wheelers and stuff. But it wouldn't be good. Like we we went to Freestone one year. I think it was in 2021, I believe.
Okay.
And it was whenever we were doing the Dallas, the 3 races in Dallas.
Oh yeah,
and it was
21.
the same week as Freestone. So we drove up, watched a day of racing, and we were watching the women's class. And it was like a couple girls like in the back of the pack, and she's like, and they were still riding pretty good. Like they're not going fast,
Sure.
And you watch them, and like she's used to. That was like one of the first amateur races she had been to in a long time, and she's used to watching us all the time, and they look like they're not going that fast. And she's like, I think I could beat them. And like, she was dead serious. And I'm like, maybe after you practice a little bit, but you could not get on the bike and like go. And then like, she's like, yes, I could go faster than that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you see that girl right there? Like, she just hit that little tabletop. I'm like, I know that's a really small tabletop, but there's a kicker on that.
Yeah.
And like, if you try to do that, it's going to turn out bad. It really is, So, I mean, I would let her ride, but she would scare me bad. I know she would scare me if she was out there. Yep.
I think that'd be a great halftime thing, though. That's no KTM juniors this weekend. Riders, wives, girlfriends, powder puff.
Who's gonna, I thought the point of having a rider chick was for them when you get hurt, for them to take care of you. What are you gonna do if they're both hurt?
If she gets hurt, that's gonna be bad. Yeah, not good.
Yeah. Did you have a golf question before he goes?
Well, it was Sam from Austin again. He said, "What was the coolest hole when you went to the Masters, and your biggest takeaway?" Just gonna say it's hard. It's gonna be hard to top Hunter because we had him on the show last week, and he got to go to the Mercedes tent. So you got big shoes to fill.
The Masters, the coolest hole, I don't know. I think I really like 15. It's or no, not 15. Sorry, it is 13. The par
corner.
5. Yeah, right there at Amen Corner, that par 5. I just it's such a kind of like a risk reward hole there, and even if you go for it and you go long left of that green, and it's such like. the undulations out at the Masters at Augusta are just like insane, like how steep and how fast those greens are and stuff. And it's just like you can get into so much trouble. And then, you know, you see like Rory on the last day, like we were sitting like in line with him on the fairway whenever he like where he hit it in the water from, and he was trying to play it smart, you know, and still hits it in the water and makes a double bogey on like, you know, on a relatively easy hole. Like it's not a super long par 5. The pin wasn't in a super hard spot. Like he didn't have that hard of a shot, but whenever you get down to those times with that much pressure, it's gnarly. So yeah, the Masters was pretty awesome. And like probably the biggest takeaway is just like everything that, you know, you hear about the Masters and about, you see it on TV, it's so like perfectly manicured, everything. Like you get there and it like truly is that good. Like you go to a lot of things. There's not very many things that you see on TV or something and you go to it and it's just like exceeds your expectations. Like if you already think it's really good, you know, but that's one of them. And like, it was so cool, like to be there and no one has their phone. Like you're not allowed to take your phone on property. So not one single person out there has their phone. No media guys, the camera guys don't have it. Like we were sitting on AT&T and waiting for for Rory, the last couple groups to come through. And there was a camera guy right beside us, and the guys beside the camera guy are like, what's going on? Cause he's getting like notifications from the TV crew, you know? It's like, you don't know what's going on unless you physically see the shot or you see the leaderboard change, and that's it. You know, like there's like rumblings of what's going on throughout the crowd whenever something crazy happens. But until you see the leaderboard or you see the shot in person, you don't have any idea what's going on. So it's just like, where can you go in 2025 that it's like that? You know, like where can you go where no one has a cell phone and like you don't know what's going on until they change a paper leaderboard? You know, it's
nowhere cool. That you'd want to go. Anywhere else like that?
No,
it
sounds
third
nice.
world country. Yeah, that's crazy.
So it sounds like it's how it's supposed to be. Like you're living in the moment.
It is. So. Everyone is living in the moment, and like I've even seen like where fans are like, players are like, they say that it's so much. Just the fan experience there is so much better because like you actually get like fans engaged and watching, and you know, like where before, like if you know Tiger Woods walks past, everyone has their phone up getting the video of him walking past. You know, like no one's actually like engaged, and you know everyone wants to send it on Snapchat to their buddies. And like I'm someone that's like, I'm that person that's like doesn't have my phone out a lot. You know, like I like to just like take it in person. But then, like, you don't have those memories later on, you know? That's I do appreciate, like, my wife. Like, she's always getting pictures of our daughter and stuff, and like, me and her doing stuff. And I'm like, put your phone away. Like, just enjoy it. And then, like, a year later, I'm like, oh, man, I love this picture. And I'm like, thank you for taking, you know? Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, Jordan, we're about to let you go, but we have a trivia question for our listeners. If you're listening, it's Race Tech. We've got a Race Tech shock rebuild certificate. And what you got to do is email motoxpodshow@gmail.com. And I want you guys to do some research. What was Jordan's first ever Loretta Lynn's result, the year, and who won that race? Don't answer, obviously, but do you remember? Do you know the answer to those?
I think I do. I think I do. I'll text you. Text you, and you let me know if it's right. But I'm pretty sure I know.
But you are not eligible for the race.
Oh, why not? I got it. I'll email.
Okay.
I got my daughter on a freaking OSET out here. She needs a suspension.
There you go.
Well, I bet we can get checkers to take care of that. But Jordan, dude, it's a pleasure talking to you. We definitely don't want to wait another 6 months before we get you on the show. But I'll see you this weekend at Redbud. But thanks for coming on.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep.
It's always a pleasure. Yep.
All right.
Talk to you guys later. All right. Bye-bye.
That was Jordon Smith tonight, brought to you by Race Tech again.
That's a great idea.
MotoXpodshow@gmail.com. What was Jordan's first ever Loretta Lynn's, the year, the result, and who won?
That's a really good idea, doing the trivia stuff like that.
Yeah.
With the riders. I don't remember you doing that before. That's pretty cool.
He just answered, and he is absolutely correct.
Oh, awesome.
It was funny you mentioned the powder puff race.
Yeah.
We when we did that arena cross day, it was on Valentine's weekend or the weekend before, something like that. And they did a Valentine's race where they were all on like pit bikes, and like the husband was driving and the wife was on the back, but the wife had to like hold like a drink and like try not to spill it. And this one dude like completely sent the finish line, and like the chick was like just completely airborne. I don't know how she stayed on the bike, but it was just like, holy crap! I don't think she kept any of her drink, but but yeah, he completely sent it. It was hilarious.
My dad used to race dirt track cars, stock cars, right? And like in the 80s, they did a powder puff race every once in a while. My mom.
So you don't think
they
girls
go out
are
like
good
lawnmowers
enough to have
or what?
their own races? That's you're pretty sexist.
But the wives that don't. Shut up. and my mom was actually leading until the last lap.
Would they would actually ride the actual race cars?
Yeah, she didn't ride it. She
or
drove
drive
it.
yeah, whatever.
Yes, like a full on dirt stock car, yeah. And I don't remember, right? Like 5 laps or whatever. And she led the whole thing until the last lap, and then she jumped the cushion, got past.
Yeah, those darn cushions.
I don't know what that means.
You know what the cushion is? It's basically the berm the cars make.
That's
what they push off the cushion.
Oh, okay.
In dirt, they call it a cushion in dirt track racing.
I do my own cushion pushing.
All right, we need to move on.
X-Brand Forum check-in. We've got Derik Dwyer in about 5 minutes, so let's do as I said, X-Brand Forum check-in. X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC, Supercross, motocross, and arena cross riders, including Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, and many more. Visit EKSbrand.com or go to your local dealership and ask for X-Brand distributed through WPS. Tonight's X-Brand Forum check-in. This is something we sort of have talked about before, but it's titled, What Qualities Dictate Your Fandom? So what do you like out of a rider or a team or whatever? What draws you to a particular, let's say, rider, obviously, not necessarily team? Anything in particular, TJ?
I've always been a huge fan of like Blake Baggett because of his like grit whenever he was on 250s, his ability to send it bam bam, because he just doesn't. I mean, those kind of qualities, I think they kind of have the same, like, what would you call it? Qualities or MLU or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word either.
But that's the kind of stuff. Like I like that kind. I like the like total DGAF. I'm like just gonna send it.
Okay.
That's the thing that pisses me off the most about Deegan is his riding style and stuff like that. Is somebody I would probably really be a fan of, but I'm just not for some reason. Like I don't hate him.
Like when he comes on the show afterwards, you're like, oh, I do like him. And
I know.
And then he does stuff on the podium and you don't like him.
I like Diggs. He's fine. He's
I'm
fine.
indifferent
I
up
can
and down.
separate the stuff he says on the podium because I do feel like it's
But I can't
a
separate
bit
it
of
from
an
his
act.
face.
Huh?
Nothing.
I don't like the things he's been doing lately with like the duck face and the showing his watch off. Like I'm not.
I
haven't
that's
seen any of that.
But that's a kid.
Did you see the
that's
video
just
of
a kid.
Jet making fun of him?
Yeah, yeah. But that's just a kid, and
Yeah.
he's just doing dumb kid stuff.
Oh, the bed bugs were going crazy off of that one. Like, he's already in his head.
Already in his head. Yeah, it's so stupid.
yeah.
What about you? What do you like out of a rider?
I kind of like the. I mean, obviously, I like the guys that are really talented and that are doing well. I also kind of like
the guys that suck.
I kind of like the underdog a little bit too, though.
Okay, all
Not
right.
a big fan of Doc, is what he said.
Yeah, I don't like I just said I don't like riders that suck.
Dog doesn't like me either, so we're good.
Oh, really?
All right, it'll be all right.
Wow. Get Doc on the line. Go ahead. Keep going.
Anyways, I I always really liked Dungy. I really I like Chase because he's fast, but he's not necessarily like the one. He can beat the guy that's like the fastest guy. Like he was the challenger to Tomac, now he's the challenger to Jet. I really like that. I also do like guys like Hunter just because like they're real class. Like Hunter's kind of in a very interesting situation where he's kind of shadowed by his overshadowed by his younger brother, and I think he handles it with a lot of class.
Mm-hmm.
And I like guys that like handle things really well, very classy and then the guys that are just kind of down to earth too, like AP and stuff like that. So
yeah,
It sounds like you're describing Blake Baggett.
or all.
I did
just
not
everybody.
really.
Almost
I didn't really
everybody.
I'd never really liked Blake Baggett.
I like him. He didn't have a famous father, so I mean,
Yeah, I
Neither
think
did Jet and Hunter.
no, it was a joke.
Okay.
you don't remember that press conference quote.
Like he
Oh, no.
It was about Eli. Like I don't have.
He's like I beat him, and I get doing all this, and I don't even have a famous father.
Oh, See, I don't. That's stupid.
It was supposed to be. That's the whole point. That's what nobody got about Blake Baggett. He was doing all that to troll everybody. Like, he was hilarious. Like, you hear his interviews.
I mean, kind of like Hayden a little bit.
Yeah.
He's trolling.
But you don't like Hayden, so yeah, what are you talking about?
Well, but Blake didn't have a famous father to fall back on.
And Hayden does. That's why you don't like. That's why you don't like Hayden.
It's Blake Baggett's fault. Why I don't like him. Yeah, exactly.
Or it's Brian's fault.
Yeah, Brian was really like not a cool guy to us. Whenever Doc was in the amateurs, he multiple times, and I've never been bashful about saying it.
Yeah.
It was just a complete dick.
Okay,
and so
right.
it got serious.
Can I answer? Because we're running out of time.
Yeah,
It's actually time to get Derik on. I have different reasons. Like in my younger days, it was just the bike. Like if they're Honda, for the most part, I was a Honda guy.
That was cool.
I've said this a couple times on here. I think since doing this media thing, it's just become personal as I get to know guys. So it's tougher. But like Chiz is probably my favorite rider, right? And certainly not because of the results. It's just because he's a cool dude. I just started pulling for him. So it's kind of random for me. Cooper, because of the way. I think Cooper's Webb is just a really cool dude.
So gritty.
He is.
I like the grittiness.
Yeah. So it just kind of depends, the guys I pull for. But lately, it's been more people that I know somewhat personally. And I say all the time, I pick with my heart. Like Dylan Ferrandis going to win the 450 Supercross title, right? Because I started to really like Dylan a lot.
I've also found that, and since doing this show, that I don't really have like a guy, because like I kind of like we've talked to a lot of them. So and you kind of have to have takes that are unbiased.
Yeah, and I don't do very good at that. I'll just say I can't. I'm not. I'm going to be biased here.
So yeah, I mean you can be sometimes, but for the most part, I think I kind of look at it as a holistically and not just like, oh, I want my guy to win. Like I kind of just want to see good racing and storylines, really, more than anything. So we have something to talk about.
Yeah, it's just tough sometimes to be biased. Like even when I talk about Austin Faulkner or whatever, like I just want him to do so well. It's hard for me to be unbiased when he's not doing well or whatever. But our next guest of the night's on the phone. He's going to be brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight Seat Foam. Don't forget they have complete seats for the Talari and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-Ron and Segway, and they strive to ship orders within 36 business hours. So visit GutsRacing.com today. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us Monster Energy Kawasaki mechanic for Jorge Prado, our buddy Derik Dwyer. What's up, Derik?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. It's been a while since you've been on the show, so thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
So I want to start off with, because it has been a long time, just getting a little bit of your background, letting people know who you are that maybe haven't listened in a while. You have a pretty storied career of riders you've worked for, including Jeremy Martin, Christian Craig, Joe Shimoda, RJ Hampshire, Hunter Lawrence for a bit, Zacho, Malcolm, Pierce Brown, Cameron McAdoo. Like, it's a list of who's who, man. I mean, talk about your career as just a broad stroke real quick.
I've been at it, for quite a while now. I've been very blessed with a lot of great riders over the years. I'm from Michigan. I come out in the end of 2007 to work with Mike Alessi as a practice guy and Jeff Alessi, and then kind of morphed into Moto Concepts for 5 years.
Yeah.
A bunch of different guys, and then moved over to Geico Honda with Zach Osborne when he came back from Europe. And then when Zach left to go to Husky, I started working with Malcolm Stewart. And, we got our first Supercross, his first Supercross win on a 250F.
That was your first win too, right?
That was my first win too. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then, he didn't race outdoors that year, and Justin Bogle got hurt. So then Christian Craig come onto the scene, and I'd say a couple weekends in, him and the mechanic kind of split ways, and they just put me with him, and it morphed into him for the next few years. 2016, worked with Christian, got second into the series to Cooper Webb. Also got his first win with, together with him. And then, turned into Jeremy Martin in 18. I was with Martin until 2021, the end of 2021. I went to Star with him.
Yeah, you were with him when he broke his back at Muddy Creek too, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I've been through the highs and the lows with him. That was obviously the lowest point, but kids, or the guy, I should say, not the kid.
Yeah, not a kid anymore.
He's not a kid. I mean, you look at him and you think, yeah, he's still young, but he's not. And then, we basically got back to the top, and, we ran in 2020 all the way down to the Paula last moto with the battle against Ferrandis. So we lost it by a few points, but we gave it a good effort that year. And when Geico shut down, unfortunately, then I moved over to Star with him. And we had a very roller coaster year. He won the heat race at Tampa by like 11 seconds. And then the first turn went into the rhythm section, and I think Robertson landed on him and blew his shoulder out and broke his hand all up. And it was a big year, I should say, of ups and downs. Then moved over, worked with Pierce Brown for a year at TLD. And then after the year there, I decided, I was going to, Cameron McAdoo called me, said his mechanic was leaving Pro Circuit, and was if I was interested in coming over and working for him, since I had worked with Cameron in 19 at Geico during the time that Martin was hurt in Supercross.
Oh, yeah. So I have one of those number plates that you gave me. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 44. Yep. We actually had a pretty good year that year. We fought a couple, I'd say, demons with clutch stuff, but he was heavy on the clutch, and we had some other stuff. But man, I mean, we were so close to the podium that year, and he lived with me for a bit. So when he called me, and I told him, I'll let me talk to Mitch. And so then I went over there and I worked there for 2 years with him. And I think we had 10 podiums out of 12 Supercross entries. So that was, pretty good in my opinion. And then we had the red plate, and, that one race in, where was it? Him and Levi came together, and his shoulder was messed up, and we ended up having to pull out. So that was like the last time that we lined up together. And then Justin Shanty was leaving Factory Cowie, and started talking with those guys. And then Dan called me and offered me a job, and so that's now where I'm at.
Okay, and I want to get to the current 450 stuff and working with Prado, but TJ here has a question about the Alessis, but I want to step back even further. I may be wrong, but I feel like you told me a story. The first race you ever wrenched professionally was I think you had 3 or 4 guys that all were trying to get into a Supercross race, and 2 of them made it. I feel like that's a memory I have. Is that sound right?
It wasn't my first one.
Oh, okay.
So Detroit was my first one. I worked for a guy, and then I went to Indy, and at Indy, I was actually staying in my car working for free. And I worked for one guy. Well, the owner said, "Hey, if you're available for Toronto, we really could use some people to come up." And I said, "Yeah, sure. It's just across the bridge from Detroit. So, in a little bit." I'm like, "Absolutely." And then I show up, and I got my toolbox, and same thing. I was going to, I stayed in my car out in the parking lot, and I got there Thursday night, and he tells me, he's like, "Dude, I don't have any other mechanics coming." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Could you wrench for multiple people?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll give it a go, whatever." And Yeah, it was Colt Humphrey in the 250 class, Jerry Dostal, and Joel Olaf. And unfortunately, Olaf didn't make the main that night. So in the 250 class that night, Colt put in a ride to get 11th. And then I hurried back and I, got different pit board and right back on the line, after, prepping the bikes, and went up with Jerry. And I think we ended up getting 10th that night. So it was kind of pretty cool story.
It is.
And then the owner of the team, he was like, man, I'm pretty impressed. Like, that was really cool. I want to stay in touch and try to, if I hear of anything and whatever. So we just kind of chatted back and forth over the next few months. And I told him, like, hey, I'm coming to Unadilla, and I'm going to just, drive up with a buddy of mine that's going to try to make in the main, make the race and whatever. And I happened to go over and see him. He's like, come with me. So, all right, cool. Yeah. I walk over and he's like, I want to introduce you to somebody. And I'm like, okay. Goes and knocks on the motorhome. And here comes the Mike and Jeff's mom, Kim, and introduced. I talked to her for like 15, 20 minutes. And, I kind of just walked away going, man, that was cool. Like, thanks for the, putting me out there. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then it kind of went silent for about a month and a half. And all of a sudden I get this phone call from Tony, and he's like, I heard you want a job in the industry. And I'm like, well, yeah, like, what do you got? And, I got a practice mechanic. He's leaving. I need a new guy. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, give me a call, or he goes, let me call you back in like a half hour. Okay. He calls me back a half hour later. He's like, all right, this is what I'm willing to pay you during the, for the week, give you 30 days. And then if you're doing a good job, I'll pay you this much more, and you can live with us for free, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, all right, that sounds good. And he goes, okay, when can you come? And I was like, well, can you give me like, 2 weeks? And he's like, oh no, I'm thinking like we need to book you a flight tonight. And I'm like, huh? Tonight? And sure enough, he ended up booking me a flight, and I landed at like 1:30 in the morning, and it was just crazy. Like, backpack, I took a pillow with me. I get picked up, and he's like, I got to sleep a few hours. I need you to drive. Here's my phone. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in California, never been here, never met you. I'm driving your car, and it's 1:30 in the morning, which I'm from Michigan. It was like, 4:30. I'm like, this is crazy.
No way. Sure enough, and no way you slept on that plane flight.
Sure didn't. No.
So TJ, when we see or hear or whatever, how do I get in the industry? How do I get a job as a mechanic? It ain't easy, buddy.
It ain't easy.
You got to be willing to do whatever it takes. And the guys that have been in this industry a long time, for the most part, have done that, like Derik.
Well, the interesting part to me is it's like that for the mechanics and some of the athletes, the privateers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a struggle. So getting into like the Alessi stuff, with all the people you've worked with through all the years and stuff, I know you had to learn a lot from Tony, because like we've all got to know him over the years, for the good and the bad. And we all like Tony here. What is some things that you learned from working with him that has actually stuck with you, that you maybe without even thinking about it at times do that because you learned it or did it that way with them?
I mean, that's a tough one, but the thing that stands out the most with me was the dedication. So he had the utmost dedication for his son, and you cannot shake a stick to that. And I feel like as a mechanic, if you're dedicated to your rider, you're dedicated to the program that you're on, going the extra levels to do whatever. And in some aspect, it can be a fault because you can try too hard or want it too much, but it's all in the person doing the work or caring. So like for me, that always stood out. And he was never satisfied and going, okay, we got this platform, we can ride this and we can win. No, it was always, we have this platform. What is the next best thing that we can introduce to it to keep moving forward? So as the race series progresses, you're not getting stale type of deal. And I would say subconsciously that's probably stuck with me. Always have my wheels turning type of scenario, I guess. But yeah, his dedication, I mean, it not many people have that same amount. So,
and you see that
cool.
even at the arena crosses that he's doing with Vince and stuff. Because I've been to a bunch of them this last year, and he is still that way, even at the arena crosses.
Yeah, I mean, racing's racing. Whether you're racing pro supercross, motocross, or arena cross, or world supercross, I mean, you have to go into it with the same mindset, because it's like, if you don't, then you're setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. I think at every level, there's still a competition, to the highest level of that level. Like arena cross, it might be a little bit lower than supercross, but, there's not as much money put into it, and there's a lot of other factors. But, the manufacturers aren't there like they are in supercross. So, like, I think you still have to have the same mindset no matter what, to be successful in any of the disciplines and level.
Derik Dwyer tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. All right, so the move from Pro Circuit Kawasaki, from the 250 team to the premier 450 team at Factory Monster Energy Kawasaki. What are a couple of the biggest changes? Obviously, during Supercross, there's a few more races. But besides that, like, what are some things that maybe you were surprised by, or is it not that much different?
I would say the program itself is, when you're on a lights team, I was on a lights program for a long time. Geico, we had between, 4 and 9 guys at one time. Pro Circuit, pretty much, depending on injuries, could be 1 guy, could be 6 guys. You're always searching for the next little edge in the 250 class. So coming to the 450, we have Jason and we have Jorge. So there's a lot less, I would say, distractions of, having more guys under the truck and all of that. And I'm not saying it's it's a bad thing to have 5 guys under the truck, but it's just a little less of the chaos, I'd say. And so that's been kind of nice to be able to do. And then, like, here, Mitch is very similar, actually, where he can make, if he wants to change the piston, he just, Jerry goes in and he machines the piston, or calls up JE or whatever and has the piston made. Or if he wants to port something, he just goes in and ports it. Well, I mean, we're very similar here, or even on another level. Like, if we want, to make something, we just go in, we sit down with Jeremy or Boncho, and they can execute it within a matter of hours to days. So, we make 99% of our stuff in-house. It's just a walking distance and a discussion, and the next thing you know, you got it. Like our start tool that took a few days. Boncho did it from scratch, and that helps our lockdown. And then because Jorge came here and he's never had suspension like Supercross, to where it was so stiff that you couldn't lock it. And I mean, I was to the point like my shoulder was about to give out, and he's like, "Man, I wonder could we do something?" And then we executed the start tool, and we had it up and running in like 2 revisions and on the track by 4 or 5 days later. So stuff like that. Or if we want to do a linkage curve, we draw it up and we CNC a linkage out. So it's like that type of stuff. That's like the next step for me, and that's pretty impressive. It doesn't take weeks to get that type of stuff figured out. So that's pretty neat.
That was actually my next question. You answered it completely because I was talking to Lewis Phillips earlier, and he mentioned that, like, hey, Kawasaki says like they're the most factory team and can make any part, but really it never gets talked about. No one really knows that. So that's really interesting that you guys have so much, so many options or ability to do whatever you want. And it's kind of funny because we've heard over the years that the factory Kawasaki team is very tight when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, don't want to do a whole lot of different things. But so it's interesting to get a look inside the team.
Yeah, I'll touch base on that a little bit. I think the program has morphed away from that very, I don't want to say narrow-minded type, but that stereotype of they don't want to give the riders anything. Like it's crazy because I read the other day, like just going through some of the comments that Jorge can't even pick the front tire that he wants. And I'm like, so what front tire does he want, bud? Like that's not true. That's not true at all. Like the difference is he's coming from Pirelli and coming on to Dunlops. He's tested every tire possible. And multiple times, like Supercross is one avenue and he runs a certain set of tires, and then motocross, like we're looking for something. So, we went back and we tried some other tires and he's like, oh yeah, this one floats a little better and whatever. And it's like, okay, so that's our new spec. Like, it's no different than a hard part, linkage or bar mounts or whatever the situation. It's very much open. Maybe sometimes we have too many options, but at the same time, like it's an open book with the riders, so they can, never feel, I'd say, that they're not able to see what's out there. But it's the stereotype is completely changed on that. Like,
that's cool to hear.
I think that the crew that we have here, they're very willing and open-minded about stuff. And, we do have a process of, if it's a new part, Brock rides it and gets time on it. And, you're not like just throwing it out there to the wolves and hoping. Like, that's not the way to do it. So there is a process on some stuff, and it does take, it can take a week, 2 weeks, depending on what size of the change is, before maybe our guys, whether it be Jason or Jorge, gets on it.
That makes sense. Just a couple more for you, Derik.
Yeah, Derik, it's interesting to hear you say like the things you learn from the Alessis about, always trying to find something that's better. And then now what you just mentioned with the always trying to get being able to try different things with the Kawasaki team and everything. All of that to culminate to what you're working with right now. Culminate.
I saw me look at you. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Anyways,
not a word.
moving on. It's kind of being put to the test now. Like, it seems like that you guys are working really hard with the bike with Prado right now, and it's cool to see all these things that you've kind of worked through is all coming together now.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely out there that, there's some frustrations or whatever. I feel like the Kawasaki crew in general has put their head down and have gone to work. There's, like saying that, we're underpowered and whatever. But the thing is I'd have to say there's so many ways of producing the power or delivering the power. So it's really the amount of time on some stuff that we've, him being on a motorcycle. I think from Supercross we were injury, and then another injury, and then obviously the one at Anaheim that put us out, and then it rolled into outdoors. We were on the bike very little. So I think all of us here are learning him and learning how his demeanor is with testing. And we there's no lie, we've done a lot of testing, and it's not stopping, and it won't stop. I believe we'll get there, but it's by no lack of effort for sure. and we do have a lot of options. Like I was saying, there's other things that it takes more time to be able to get rolling before you can just introduce it. So like, suspension's one thing, engine package is a whole nother thing. And like, I personally, we agree that it goes hand in hand. And if he's relying on the engine to do stuff that, for the bike, you're always trying to manipulate it with the chassis. And, that's like where you'll see some of his results probably is, we maybe took a stab at something and it just wasn't gelling and, or whatever the reason. So, the result wasn't there. But at this point in time, I feel like the racing is our best testing, and we are learning each week of like what he's looking for. He's explaining it. We've done hundreds of hours at club over the last few weeks, and the effort's there. So
yeah,
we're doing it. We got a lot of stuff in the pipes and trying to get him to where we believe he can be and where he believes he can be. And by no means are we settling with what we got and not allowing him to progress, because his potential it's there. We just have to reach it.
Okay.
There's been so many riders you've worked with, and you have some riders who aren't happy with the bike, but you hear them say, yeah, we're working on it. We're getting close. They're trying to put that positive face forward. And then you have Jorge, who is just saying exactly what he thinks. Do you think that's like a MotoGP? We've heard other people in the media. MXGP, yeah. Well, no, I was thinking
okay.
That MotoGP style mentality.
You don't have to correct us.
Yeah, I'll shut up.
Yeah, like a MotoGP style mentality you get from guys over in Europe or the MXGPs where they will just say what they think, or is it just him personally?
I mean, I would have to say it may be a little both. He's honest with us. He's honest with everybody. You look at Ferrandis over the years, he was also very open in expressing his frustrations or his feelings with the team when he was winning races. So I think in MotoGP, if you got a winning guy and he's, maybe he's looking for something, he's going to be open to it. I just think that's how it is. I mean, other riders in the States, whether it's, Tomac, Sexton, Webb, I think we've seen it throughout the years. I think the thing now is there's such an expectation of Jorge, and like he should be up in the top 5 every week. So I think there's a lot more. I believe media behind it because of that. If it was like, I don't know, say Justin Cooper coming in his first year into the 450 class, like a top 5 or 6 or 8th, that's a good spot and to be and to build off of. But like a 4-time world champion coming in, even with 18 days on the motorcycle before round 1, I think the expectation was he should have been around the podium. And leading into it, it's like, this is his first year. In my head, I'm like, man, top 5 would be killer. Let's start there and then build. And I think we ended up getting like 7th or something, the first 8th maybe overall at the first race, and came back. I'm like, hey man, you know what? We didn't knock it out of the park. Let's put our heads down. Let's work. And that attitude hasn't changed for us on both sides. I think in just his head, he's like, man, I can win. We got to be a little better. Or I mean, some of the interviews, we're far away or whatever, but I don't know. So,
well,
it's okay.
I was part of the problem because I was one of the ones going, I thought he was going to win the title. Like, I'm serious. Like I was such a fan that I was one of the people that was like everybody's like, who do you think's going to win? I'm like, Jorge is going to win this title. Like, that's just what I thought.
He probably expected it too. I mean,
I look at the guys that are lining up that have been here doing it, and I give them all credit. Where credit's due. You got multiple champions. Eli's won it multiple times. Jets won it. I mean, he went 22-0 a couple years ago. Chase, but at the same time, Jorge's also a 4-time world champion. So therefore, you know what? He probably should be lining up and able to win in a perfect world. But, right now it's just there's a little bit of, hold back, I'd say, or whatever. He's not there. And, but I'm telling you, I firmly believe when we finally figure it out, I think it's going to be, when it clicks, it's going to click. And because, this last weekend was a prime example. He rode very well, and I think we learned a lot also, because when he rides sand, he feels the bike in a completely different manner, and he can explain things in a whole different way. So his feedback based off the weekend was very similar to the past weekends, but it also had a different way of saying it because he's so comfortable in the sand. And he's like, dude, I'm telling you, we could win for sure. If we just had these few little things, we can win it. So, I'm in California this week. My crew chief Oster is actually back there doing quite a bit of stuff, hopefully to be better for Redbud. And, I'm home front shipping stuff out there, doing the deal. And we're attacking it. So
I dig it. Well, Derik, thank you so much for giving us some of your time and filling us in a little bit on the backstory and everything that's going on. And man, I'm looking forward to this. I'll see you this weekend. I'll be at this race. So I'll come by and say hi.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure. So
absolutely.
I'll see you this weekend.
Sounds good, Derik. Thanks so much, man. Have a good night.
Talk to you guys later.
Right. Derik Dwyer tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. That changed your opinion any? Because it did me a little bit.
On Jorge?
Yeah.
No.
Of being thinking he should be doing better and
he kind of I kind of actually disagree a little bit, because that's kind of we like this past weekend, for example, the media was like, hey, you did top 5, you got there's a little bit of improvement. He's like, no, that's not good enough. He kind of put those expectations on himself a little bit, I think. I understand okay. I understand that it's a work in progress, and I do think he'll get there, but to just say that it's just our expectations, and I think Jorge expects that too.
I agree with that. I'm just asking personally for you if you're less disappointed than you in his results than 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, I think I'm not less or more disappointed, but I think that I have more confidence that they'll get to it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm still disappointed because he's supposed to be winning.
All right. Evans coolant emails. Evans waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays
liquid.
Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evans, the metal is always
liquid cooled.
Used by
Ampro Yamaha?
HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA.
I just picked the name.
Ampro Factory Yamaha.
I did
and
get it
many
right.
others. Regardless of the sponsorship, Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Okay, I got one here from Derek Kreitz.
You heard the confidence in that.
Yeah.
As a vet rider, this was kind of going back to we did pre-race rituals, but he did a pre-ride must-have, and it was banana, protein shake, blueberry Cliff Bar, and a Red Bull. In my young and dumb days, Mountain Dew, Marlboro Menthol, maybe some pizza or a burrito. Love the show.
I'm with that one.
Thanks for all the content. Keeps me occupied under the welding hood at work. TJ's an idiot.
I'm sure that's what it said.
I just deleted it. I can't show you. Sorry. 2-8 Brando.
I can't wait
Drive
till somebody actually
through service.
Oh,
Such a weird feeling being ignored at a place of business. Makes me want to burn the place down as I drive off to spend money down the street.
did we talk about this on the show?
You weren't here because you never come here.
No, but I remember this.
I promise you're not being ignored.
We talked about it while we were eating lunch. I was telling you about the show last week.
That's what it was.
What?
Y'all are not being
No,
ignored.
it's bullcrap. If there's nobody behind me in the line, don't tell me to pull up. I don't care about your timer. I shouldn't have to pull up. Just let me sit there at the
What
window.
does it matter if you have to pull
Because
up or
you're
not? We have to
spitting in
bring
my
it to
food
you.
or something.
Can you Google
No, we're
the
not.
I'll do it. What's the definition of ignored first?
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is,
Do y'all realize that there's like over 6 billion people on this planet and it doesn't revolve around you to always?
When I pull up to your fucking restaurant,
customers are
and I
always
order
right.
Food,
It's not-
and I get
it's
to
not
the
a
restaurant,
five-
it's about me.
It's not a 5-star steakhouse, dude. It's fast food. You're paying $10 for
Okay,
a burger.
but why-
Get what you get.
oh my god. Okay, yeah, you got what you get with pizza.
Yeah.
Ignored. Refuse to take notice of or acknowledge.
Yeah,
when
we don't
I
do that.
pull to the window and it takes
We're taking
more-
other
Whoa, 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 whoa,
orders.
whoa, whoa.
Scotty,
Guys,
if I
stop
pull
yelling.
to your damn window and it takes more than 30 seconds for somebody to say, I see you,
Okay,
Don't
you're
yell.
ignoring
what
me.
you don't realize is that the reason that we're doing that is because the other person that was behind you in line is going, yeah, can I get
But you're yelling.
number one, what does that have on it? That's what we're dealing with.
And you walk over to the window, slide it open and say, and I'd be like, cool, no worries, man.
Most of the time we do that, but
I'm not-
I'm
yeah.
usually making your drink.
I'm not, again, you keep making it about you and your Dairy Queen. I'm talking about 50% of the
Come
other
to my
places
day,
I
we
go.
will treat you good.
Hey, here's my thing. First off, I'm not 100% with Jamie on this, Dark Side on this, because
Okay, hang on. No, I just muted you.
I am somewhat subscribed to that. But genuinely, it's so easy. Just don't tell people to pull forward when there's nobody in line behind them. Now, I understand for somebody behind me and they ordered like a drink and a small fry, then pull me up, give them their stuff.
I'm more than, I don't really care what the reason is you ask me to move up. If you ask me nicely and say, do you mind moving up?
But
If you ignore me,
I just
So
feel
what
like they're-
I usually do is like, hey, we're making that fresh for you. If I can have you pull forward and bring it out to you, in just
and
a
I'd be
moment.
like, absolutely.
But okay, that's fine if there's people behind me. But if there's nobody behind me,
I'm on board with that
it's
too.
less fresh when you have to walk it out there.
So my bonus can just you just don't care about my
Yes.
bonus?
Okay,
You know what? Oh, go ahead.
make your
point.
burgers faster.
If yes,
You don't want them any faster. I promise
we
you.
made the point, or he asked you, what's the time allotted to? How long does it actually take to make this item of food? You gave a time.
5
then
minutes.
then TJ said, how much time do they give you before they need you to move up? And it was less than
3
it
minutes.
actually takes to make the food.
Yeah, 'cause you're
that's
supposed to pull-
on the company. That's your damn fault.
That's not my fault. I'm just
It's
doing
your-
what I was told.
It's not. It's your problem that your company expects you to get an order out in
Well,
less time than it makes you actually make.
I mean,
the order.
ideally, we should have some of them already ready, but because service is so sporadic, especially at my location, I like to have fresher stuff come out. So I tend to lean more to cook the
I
order.
appreciate that.
And I will give you. You just said if nobody's behind you, you don't care. You shouldn't have to move up. If you come to me and say, "Look, if you're willing to move up, it's going to take a couple extra minutes, but you're going to get a fresh burger."
Yeah,
Say
then
that.
I'm cool.
I said that. I said I do. I said we're making
But
that fresh
nobody
for
ever
you.
says that to
No,
me.
what they
Really.
always say, "Will you please move up?"
I'm sorry that you are. I'm
I'm standing-
thankful, Scotty, that you work at the world's greatest fast food.
I didn't say that. We
individual
have
restaurant
problems
where
too, but-
everything is done perfectly and friendly.
but we're
and customer
trying.
friend. But
Strive for excellence.
most fast food places appear to not give a flying.
They just
F.
move you
So
forward so
okay,
you don't see them drop your
let's
burger
pivot
on
this.
the
At
ground.
what kind of different I don't expect like the greatest things when I go to like Wendy's or Jack in the Box.
What?
Maybe
You
maybe
besmirch Wendy's.
I agree with the Wendy's
maybe
comment.
I know that if I'm going to Whataburger or Dairy Queen
Amber,
or
just
something
give me
like
some
that I'm gonna wait a little longer, but I'm getting a fresher product.
Yeah.
Like you should like if you're a fast food connoisseur and you haven't figured that out yet, then that's on you.
My biggest issue is what I personally consider customer service of just acknowledging. It happens a lot where you pull up and I want my
Now,
drink. My drink should be ready.
If I
when
have
get there.
my drive-through people and they're sitting there chit-chatting and someone's pulled up and we're not busy, yeah, that's a good way to piss me right off,
Yeah.
and I get onto it for that. But like
Can you imagine him being your boss?
my
I
thing
can't
is
really imagine him mad. I could see
Come on, guys.
his employees not doing what they're supposed
kinda
to.
what it
and him
is.
being
This is teamwork.
sad.
it's kind of what it is.
Do you have enough pieces of flair on?
Yeah, that's not that
right.
bad.
Anyway, I just, again,
Yeah.
give me my drink when I pull to the window. Immediately.
That if you're gonna give me my drink,
We're trying to. I promise. Unless there's two different scenarios going
I don't care
on.
about you and your Dairy Queen.
Okay, I'm just. I'm trying to give everybody else a chance too.
They don't.
No, I agree. There's a
every
lot of
time they
shitty
would
places.
say, if they would say, "Hey, we're having to make
feel like we
that
need to
fresh.
move
If you could pull forward, we'll get it out to you real quickly." Maybe then, that's the only thing. It's the first time I've heard something that makes me go, okay, I can understand that, but that's not what they're doing. They're trying to hide the fact that they just dropped my hamburger on the ground, and they don't want me to see it.
No, that's not what's happening.
All right, we need to move on. ETS Racing Fuels was forged from the heat of competition nearly 30 years ago, developing purpose-engineered fuel for high-profile teams and highly competitive series. We've been the power behind many podium wins ever since. Teams using ETS Racing Fuels have won more than 50 national and world champion titles, and they're on their way to winning another one in the 450 class outdoors. And we continue to forge new alliances and partnerships across motorsports. ETSRacingFuels.com to find your local distributor. ETS Racing Fuels supporting teams such as Factory KTM, Factory HRC Honda, Rockstar Husky, Rockstar Gas, Factory Triumph, and many more. And they are the power, the fuel behind the MotoXpod going forward. Thanks to ETS Racing Fuels. All right, T-Boat USA, top 5. This one ought to be interesting. All right, TJ, if you are a pit bike enthusiast, such as yourself, and you love shredding around on a CRF 110, a KLX 110, or whatever homemade piece of junk you have that you've made yourself, TJ, you need tboatusa.com bookmarked on your web browser. Do you have it bookmarked?
I have it bookmarked, and I'm sure Vince. Yep, and I'm sure Vince will have parts for my homemade stuff too.
Probably so, because even though your thing is homemade, his parts are not. T-Boat USA is a pit bike supply site that is everything you need for your pit bike. You can find handlebar kits featuring BBR and Pro Taper bars, D&M shocks, and even full bikes from YCF, Pitster Pro, and Piranha. T-Boat USA has it all. They even have the stuff for those Chinese bikes that your grandfather bought for you Christmas Eve on the corner of Main Street and Highway. This is a piece of shit. Chinese bikes that are so difficult to find. They have parts that will probably work, or will work, not probably work, that will work, and get your Chinese Qingshin running again.
That's a good slogan. It'll probably work.
Yeah, yes.
That'll probably work.
Well, I was going to say that the Chinese bike will probably work because it's a piece of junk, but once T-Boat USA is involved, it will work.
There you go.
All right, T-Boat USA top 5. This was one that was sent in. I believe this was one that Steve Hall, our buddy from Australia, sent in. And it is top 5 movies with animals, non-animated.
I thought it was the animals.
Huh?
It was the actual movies?
It's movies that have animals in
You can
it.
pick the animal. It's fine.
I thought I was saying I picked the actual animals. I thought that's
So like
like
you went like dog, cat.
no, and the names, their names.
That's fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know what movies they came.
Yeah.
I picked dog and bear. And
Like I wanted to go. Was it Cocaine Bear? That movie,
yeah.
but that's animated.
it's not animated.
It's CGI, man. It wasn't a real bear.
They used a bear in that movie.
No,
in that
he
show.
did not. You dummy.
Really?
Stop acting like an idiot. You're the idiot.
I didn't even.
Don't be an idiot. Changed my life.
Good. Okay, I tried to get my stepdaughter Hattie in here because she loves animals, and she refused. So
Was we trying to pick her?
no, I want her to give some top 5 animal movies. You want me to go first, or Scotty, or who wants to go?
I'm ready, but you can go first if you want.
All right. So I'm old, right? So I went out. We can do TV too. So I went BJ and the Bear. It was an old TV show with a monkey and a truck driver.
Never seen
Okay.
it.
Great, man. All right. I don't remember the name. I didn't know.
Wait, it's called BJ and the Bear, but it's about a
BJ
monkey?
and the Bear, but it's a chimp.
Well, okay. I'm confused.
I was a kid, but I'm sure. I bet the bear was like Smoking the Bandit. The bear was probably the cops because it was like a
I don't
Smoking
know,
the
man.
Bandit type of TV show.
70s had a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
cocaine.
Yeah, probably. Flash from Dukes of Hazzard.
I don't remember it.
Roscoe's dog. He was called Flash, and he never moved.
I don't
Just
remember
sat in
it.
the back seat of the police car.
I've seen so little of that show
Man,
growing up.
Cujo.
Never seen it.
Stephen King,
You're
baby.
old.
Slammer was the name of the dog, and something about Mary that
I thought about that one too.
they got geeked out.
Yeah.
And then I picked Tina from Napoleon Dynamite, the llama.
Oh, the llama. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good call.
Because, I don't
deep
really like
cut.
animals, so I had to figure something out.
Eat your food.
Yeah. Eat your fat lord. Yeah.
It was, what is it, like an enchilada or something?
Quesadilla.
Quesadilla. Yeah. All right, Scotty, go.
All right. So I've got a tie for 5th between Free Willy, like the whale off of Free Willy.
Okay.
That would be Willy.
And yeah, and Jinxie Cat from Meet the Parents.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't the cat itself. It was just like what trouble the cat
Was
got
that the
the
one
other
that
guy
got
in.
milked? But they talked about milking a cat.
Yeah, I think so. It was just
that's where the conversation came from. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Anyways, okay, that and then from a TV show was growing up was Wishbone. I was a PBS kid growing up watching PBS stuff.
Don't know that one.
And it was like a show. This dog was the dog would like go back in time and show you like historical stuff. It was like kind of an educational show, but Wishbone was my man. Shadow from Homeward Bound, the golden retriever.
Yep, never watched those.
Oh really? Yeah, it's just funny to see our different eras.
Yeah,
like,
I just didn't
up.
I don't like animals. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna watch a movie that was I just thought of one. Oh, it was animated. Never mind.
What was it?
Well, it's stupid because
What was it?
Never ending story. And that big
the
fluffy
dragon.
Dog. That big
I
fluffy
thought it was a
dog thing.
dragon.
That was a dragon.
That white thing is
That was
a
a
dragon.
dragon.
Yeah,
Did you not read the book?
I've never read it or watched it.
I never really watched it either,
really
but I knew it
good.
was a dragon.
The
The
movie.
never-ending story.
Dude, they did a really
I
good
never
job
I
with
never
it.
really understood it. It never made sense to me.
What? Oh, go ahead.
All right, sorry. Anyway,
And
explain.
then Sam what's from I Am Legend. I'm trying to think of the kind of dog.
The
German
German
Shepherd.
Shepherd?
German Shepherd from I Am Legend.
okay.
And then he had D1 athlete Airbud, man.
Oh God.
Never seen it.
All right, what are
Okay.
your Scotty or TJ? Because you struggled.
I had 4. No, I came up with 4. We were sitting here thinking about it.
T-Bolt top 4.
The dog. The dog from The Mask.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because remember he put the mask
Yeah.
on and he got all like turned. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the movie. I don't know the dog's name. Obviously, the Shaggy Dog. You remember?
Shaggy.
Oh, I remember
No,
that. That
remember
was
the
a
movie
good.
where he
I
turned
loved
into
that
the
movie.
Shaggy Dog or
Yeah.
whatever.
Sure.
Like, yeah. Anyways, The Life of Pi. They had the tiger that was in there, and
Oh, yeah.
there had to have been a real tiger. Like they used, right?
Maybe at times. I've never seen that either. So.
And then number 1, which was actually a really good movie, was Turner and Hooch.
That was,
Oh, yeah.
with the slop. Did he have like sloppy?
Yeah.
like-
He somehow whatever his name was, the guy from Castaway, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
got like teamed up with Hooch the dog as his partner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. That
Honorable,
is the.
honorable mention to Beethoven.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
You can use that as your
The
5th.
5th one, Beethoven.
Yeah.
That is the T-Bolt USA top 5. All right, let's do Barnett clutches. Pick one. Barnett, with 75 years of experience behind them, Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials exclusive to Barnett for maximum performance and durability. You can get 10% off with promo code VitalMX. That's all caps at barnettclutches.com and feel the Barnett difference. Barnett clutches, pick one. All right, so a turn track with perfect conditions, just perfectly groomed, fun to ride on, or say kind of a baked in track, but with really fun jumps.
The second one.
Okay.
I would say, like, if we're talking about turn tracks, kind of like how my place is, where it winds through stuff and
It's not
No,
really what
just
I
like
was
a-
thinking.
just
I
like
was
a
thinking more
flat
like
practice
but
turn
I
track.
guess it'd be the same.
like with heels and like just
I guess just a random turn track with no jumps.
like yeah, I think
Just corners.
When you say turn track, I think of just a flat track where like, hey, we're working on turn
oh,
today.
then jumps for sure. But
Yeah.
if it's like a flowy, like
no, it could be a flowy, like, yeah, it could be like it could be a 2-minute lap time, wide,
that'd be
wide. But it's
amazing.
just
if we're going up
turns.
and down hills,
yeah, then
Then
for sure.
true. But if
I'll
it's-
give you hills, just
Okay.
no jumps, no
I'll throw
jumps.
hills.
okay,
no
then
jumps.
that one. But if it's just a flat
Yeah,
track, like sand track,
Yeah.
that's like just corners,
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out. I'm doing the baked out jump track.
All right.
Spent a day doing that with Doc out at Athens.
Yeah,
at their turn
no,
track.
yeah.
That was gnarly.
MotoXpod show at gmail.com.
That's
All right,
what I was
So
thinking.
we're about to close this thing out with the FXR picks for Redbud. Don't forget, please go to YouTube, search MotoXpod channel. It's going to be a blue logo. Like and subscribe to the thing. We had a fair number of guys or people subscribed since last week's show. We will not be on the Vital MX channel for the next show, which is in 2 weeks.
Please listen.
Yeah, we want to keep you guys. We got a lot of great advertisers. We have segments. We're going to have a website kicking off next week with we're going to do like a spotlight on tracks segment that I think a lot of you guys might really enjoy. It's going to be called Hidden Gems. It's going to be on the website. and you can send us like
your local track.
What?
I'll say your
yeah.
local
The
track.
idea is to have like a tab you click on, and it's going to have tabs or like little boxes like soil type, and you can type in all the information, amenities, bathrooms, track length, when the track was built, and you can submit photos and a description, and we will highlight those in a written feature on MotoXpod.com with photos. And so this idea is to get all these tracks that nobody's ever heard of, that your favorite private track or public track, and we can spotlight those on the website and just, yeah, maybe people will go there, make trips there or whatever. Maybe we'll go there.
Heck yeah, that sounds like
we
fun.
really want to highlight your favorite riding areas. So in order to do that, you're going to have to find MotoXpod.com next week once it's up and continue to follow us on social media. You can keep up with us on Instagram, on the MotoXpod Show Instagram. There's a Twitter for it also. I've been trying to keep that up to date, but you got to like and subscribe our YouTube channel, man. It's going to be important. And follow us on the MotoXpod. It's called MotoXpod on the podcast forums or the platforms, all of them, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, etc. You can find the show. That's where it's going to be from now on.
I copied the link into the YouTube chat from this show, last show.
I think the YouTube link is on the Instagram. It is actually on the Instagram page and maybe the Twitter page. Just follow us, guys. It's going to be big, man. Everybody's, Yamaha's coming with us. Race Tech, all the sponsors are coming with us. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but
I would like to.
It's the last one, man. What are they going to do? Fire you again?
I genuinely want to thank the guys at Vital.
Dude, I was just about to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to do this myself too. We both can because ML was awesome every time I dealt with him, and so we guys keep going to Vital, keep getting some news from there. I mean, they're going to have their forums are awesome. We have, I'm sure we'll do more with Vital in the future. And like I said, I doubt anybody's listening from Vital, but if they are, I want to give out my heartfelt thanks to those guys, and it's been fun.
Yeah, I want to thank Michael, Lindsay, and Vital MX for giving me a legitimate opportunity in the industry with a full-time job for 3 years. I did learn a lot about writing features, and I mean, obviously Lewis Phillips came on board, and Lewis taught me a ton. But ML showed me he showed me the basics of Photoshop and how to upload and do these articles, and then Lewis came in and really helped me, I feel like, be more professional. But I want to thank Vital for the opportunity. I want to thank Vital for bringing the show onto their platform and exposing it to the Vital MX forum and the subscribers they already had, and growing our audience and bringing the advertisers on. It was very beneficial, and no hard feelings. It's business. I understand, where they're headed, and yeah, definitely continue to follow Vital MX. Lewis is crushing it with his written features and race content and
MXGP podcast.
Yeah,
show.
ML's going and shooting photos and doing a lot of work. So there's a ton of great content at Vital MX. So thank you to those guys. I was going to mention, so I talked to Jason at Grill Your Ass Off today.
Oh God, I love that place.
If you cook and love different seasonings, man, Grill Your Ass Off has so much stuff. And I'm not going to do an official read right now, but they'll be on board with the show going forward. But if you do go to grillyourassoff.com and place an order, use the promo code DarkSideMX3, all caps, for 20% off. But yeah, next show, we'll get more into an official read and really pushing what they're going to be doing with us. Yeah, man, I think that's pretty much it, minus the FXR picks.
That's right. Let's get to it.
Yeah, nothing else. All right, so FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best products possible. Used by Muck-Off, FXR, Club MX, Yamaha, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, Malcolm Stewart, my mind was blanking on Malcolm's name, and many more. FXR's core motor route. So visit fxrracing.com or go to your local dealership to see the complete 2025 line. FXR picks for Redbud and where you think Cairoli will finish, which I already told you guys mine. Who, TJ, are your picks? Podium picks, 450s.
I'm going to say Jet, Tomac, Sexton.
Where does Cairoli finish overall?
16th.
16th for Cairoli. Scotty.
And that's a good result. I don't want to come across like I'm being a Cairoli hater.
Sounds like you hate him. Scotty?
I've kept picking Eli over and over and over
Yep.
again, thinking that was going to happen. So I'm going to pick Jet, and then Eli's going to win.
Okay. Jet.
Sexton,
Wow.
Eli.
I like it. I went Hunter, Jet, Eli.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's even more wow.
I know. I just.
Yeah, I got to pick your Carolis.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't do Cairoli. I did Cairoli already.
I'm going to say 13th.
Okay. MotoXpod@gmail.com. Get your picks in. And we need to do, we're doing the giveaway. We're doing the Race Tech Shock Rebuild giveaway. That was Jordon Smith's first Loretta Lynn's result, year, result, and who won the race that weekend. At MotoXpod@gmail.com. We'll pick a random winner if you want a Race Tech Shock Rebuild certificate. I want to thank all our presenting sponsors, Race Tech and Yamaha Motor USA, X-Brand Forum, X-Brand, Evans Coolant, Guts Racing, T-Boat USA, Barnett Clutches, ETS Racing Fuels, FXR, ProX. Want to thank Jordon Smith and Derik Dwyer, all the listeners for being a part of this. Man, promote the show. Let everybody know about it. We'll see you in 2 weeks.